Did you hear that? The splish-splash of teardrops falling from a mother's eyes, while the skies felt the need to mirror her grief. Her mourning and the churning in her stomach, the ache for the moment. The empty hole where a hole used to be, now barren from a son she did once bear, and as the coffin sinks, she thinks that it's really just so small, her baby was just so tall, and she turns towards her daughter as the droplets of water pour down from the heavens. The floodgates have been opened to prevent the man in black from sneaking back and stealing a throne that wasn't his, and the drops kiss her daughter's face, a face that's stone cold as a tombstone and hesitate at the brim of her lip, the trace outline of an angel's kiss. My daughter, a miniature of her father, a picturesque statue of pain, her shield that she acquired in her night-filled horrors. The night terrors that engulfed her tiny being, she's reeling, her way of dealing with the stealing of her big brother, who was there to protect her and nurture her and love her. Then I turned towards my husband, the man that I made love with, that brought upon us a blessed child, and from that moment then on we vowed that we'd give our child a life worth living and coax him away from the tempting things and give him the knowledge to be kind and courageous, wise and brave. And as he grew, we knew he would be something great. He had everything it takes to make the sadistic torment of what we call life and turn it into this blinding light that would leave everyone sightless when they weren't by his side. He was the guiding lighthouse through treacherous waters that would bring us home through the enclosing darkness. And what will we do now that the bulb has faltered? And as his father cries and wipes his eyes on his sleeve, the tie-dye pattern of his grief that says more than his words can say, as he stands boldly by his only son's grave, where roses are piled to pay homage to his 6,817 days. And I can remember the way he was the last time he came home, where his spark for life was already gone from all the terrible things that he had done, for which he would not speak and become oversought with grief. And as I looked into his heavy eyes and saw past all of his well-thought-out lies, all the lives that were taken by his hands that left them permanently blood-stained and drove him insane from this money-hungry game that we here like to play, I could sense the amount of death on his breath, the gore that bore him down upon his brow, and in his eyes, the pale gray from the lives he took and couldn't save. Trust me, I am his mother. They were the eyes of a killer. So full of knowledge, yet so little to say, but they gave him away. His face of stone like the one above him where he now lays, gone are those pleasant memories, the lazy days where stars faded to lock in the night, but his eyes were always the brightest of all the stars, and no god or pain or war should have beseeched them of their power, the good within them, and in his final hour did he feel the light fade as the inconsiderate bullet took his life. The void of his soul encompassed by a black hole that sucked every vestige of his heart and ripped a family apart from the tragedy of conflict, the unassuming profit of war. How dare you try and tell me he died for honor? He died for horror. His last minute of pain from a bullet that cried out his name, that kissed his skin before his stars went dim and collapsed on itself. The thought leaves me beside myself, and as I stand by his grave, a man telling me how my son gave his life to save those we're saving, I wonder if he even knew his name. Or did he have to look at the serial number on the dog tags? Do not tell me my son was a brave man when you knew nothing about him. You weren't there for his first day of school, when his legs shook so bad he could barely move, and as we stood outside by that classroom door, and he pulled me down to his level upon the floor and whispered, "Mommy, I love you, and tell baby sister it too." And if I knew then what I know now, that war tore this beautiful, promising life of his down. I wonder if I would have done it differently. And the possibilities make me insane, and I can't help but blame this place that we call home that glorifies the terrors of war, that makes us believe that it's for something more than money, oil, and power. And as my son stood by that classroom door and looked back with eyes full of wonder, it was then that I knew that I had already lost him. A baby boy taken way too soon, leading to his unavoidable doom, and I could feel this pain within my chest, a broken vortex from the tearing of my heart, and the deafening crack from the slamming of the door, sounding like a bullet fired and retired into someone's chest, and I question, did you hear that?